Julio Ricardo Varela. I just totally did the transition. Week two of Latino Rebels live, Latino Rebels Radio live here on Facebook. I'm going to tell you right now, today it's Monday, April 6th. It's 10 o'clock live here right now on the internet, on Facebook. I'm having a bad hair day, but I didn't even shave. I really don't care. I'm just showing you what it is. I'm really glad that you guys are here. The first week was a pretty cool week. We had some really great guests, and we're going to bring in another great guest who is one of my OGs, like guys from Vegas. What's up? Hector Luis Alamo.
What's up, man?
You're on. You're on from Las Vegas live. What's happening?
This is my first. So I'm on Facebook Live right now.
Yeah, you are. You're like
it's my debut on Facebook Live. I've never been on Facebook Live before.
All right. Well, listen. How do I describe you besides being a good friend, former deputy editor of Latino Rebels, editor-in-chief of Enclave magazine, host of Remember the Show podcast. First of all, in this whole grand scheme of things, you're looking, in the live, in the television world, the host is always supposed to look better than the guest, but you're freaking killing it right now. You got
to be fair, I did at the beginning of the day have hair and a beard, and I told my wife Rocio that I was going to be on Facebook Live with you, Latino Rebels Radio, and she's like, "You're going to get ready, right?" And so, I've been shaving. I shaved my head since high school, so I've been doing it. It's nothing to me, just it's a normal Monday. But I've been letting it loose in the last few weeks.
All right. Well, listen. You look fantastic. So you got a mic and everything. You're leaning back. You're like lean back.
Yeah, this is the podcast for Remember the Show. This is a podcast setup. I usually do a video call on all my podcast episodes because I like to talk face to face.
Yeah.
But I don't. Anybody who listens to the podcast knows it's just purely audio. But
right.
So yeah, this is a setup.
What's interesting about all this is that like I work for Futuro Media, which is Maria Hinojosa's company, and you have a better setup than I do when I do in the thick. Like I'm just saying, I'm gonna have to I don't know what. No,
I mean I learned about that. Like when I first, I Googled how to do podcasting, and I just watched all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
I learned like even the most professional companies, they just have a basic setup, right? Yeah. Thanks to technology, because technology's advanced so far in recent times.
Yeah, but you just have a better setup. I do it out of my basement with a really great mic. My mic is like killer, but I do it in my basement. You do it like in Henderson, Nevada, which, is like hoity-toity. But listen, you are in Nevada. You are in Vegas. Before we get into sort of some of the philosophical things about this crisis, we're friends. We just hung out in Vegas. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I was at Nevada Caucus, and then
you have a good time or what?
I had a very good time with you. I did MSNBC, and then I hung out with you and Rocio, which I was like, it was awesome. But tell me, how's the situation out there in terms of the mood? I mean, I know you guys are safe and everything, but are people taken seriously? I mean, I see all these pictures of the Strip like completely empty. Everything is Vegas just dead. Like, I mean,
so the Strip's never closed down. The last time it closed down was the day Kennedy got shot, and that was only for a day. So this is unprecedented. We're gonna go in Nevada to the end of April. Caesars, which is like the huge casino company, they don't not only own Caesars, they own a bunch of other casinos. They furloughed 90% of their employees till like the end of June. So that just gives you an idea of where they're going.
Yeah.
What they're thinking this is going to end.
So, are people taking it seriously?
Yeah, I mean, at the very beginning, like everybody just, I had heard my wife told me a rumor that they're buying toilet paper at the stores. I'm like, let's go check it out. Target empty, and then everywhere we went was empty. And I was like, oh wow, we didn't buy toilet paper for the first 3 weeks, because we couldn't find any.
Yeah.
And now they have, they'll give you have to go before like 10 o'clock. It's almost like being in a Latin American country, right? Where certain things are available at certain times, right? Like if you want to get eggs that day, you got to go before 9 or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they give us one of these per customer. It's crazy. Yeah.
But people are you hearing anything about, service employees, or like is the union taking care of people getting laid off, or are you hearing any stories about like anything? I mean,
it's hard to gauge how Nevada's doing. I mean, I would say that our governor Sisolak has done really well. Like he really jumped on the social distancing and the lockdown. He even has like when the lockdown happened, all the non-essential businesses were ordered to close, were ordered to close, but then all these businesses stayed open.
Mm-hmm.
And so what he did is that he like deputized, or he gave people the right, police officers the right to go into businesses and find them, right?
Wow.
And then yeah, so he's really really coming down hard on that. And then the other bad thing I would say is that Las Vegas has a really bad homeless problem. It's L.A., San Francisco, Seattle, and Las Vegas are the four very bad homeless problem areas. And all these hotels, those are empty rooms, right? All over the strip. And yet we have, none of them would take homeless people in. And so we have a parking lot outside of Cashman Field, which is like this big baseball
I saw
field.
that picture. It's like a social distancing. Right. So what did they do? I mean, seriously, what happened?
They painted these little boxes, 6 feet apart, for homeless people to sleep in. And I mean, that's a Band-Aid. And like, what happens in May? What happens in June?
Right. When it's like super hot. I mean, but still, just the picture of like, hey, homeless people, like, you're gonna socially distance. Let's do it out in a parking lot when, like,
and Las Vegas Boulevard and Flamingo Road, that has the most hotel rooms of any intersection in the whole world.
Wow.
The Venetian and the Palazzo are the biggest hotel by rooms in the world, and so we have a lot of, that's to say we have a lot of space in Vegas, right?
Right.
And especially now, so like that they're not doing that. But then again, the casinos, I saw that they were giving out like millions of dollars of food in the first month, but we'll see how long that lasts.
It's funny. We're on Facebook Live right now. There are people watching us, which is always good. It's always good when people can watch you on Facebook. But I'm going to say right now, Hector, no one has given you a comment. So you're our first guest that has not gotten a comment yet. So we're going to have to say a couple of things for you to get a comment. I mean, people don't understand. If anyone that follows the history of Latino Rebels, I'm just going to say right now, this man saved LatinoRebels.com.
Well, maybe they don't want it. Maybe they want the smoke. I'm just playing.
Maybe it's people out there who like read you and they get. But can you just tell the quick history of how you became deputy editor? Because there's probably people on Facebook Live right now going, who is this guy? What the hell? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
So,
well, me, I'm not like, I don't like being, I'm more of a writer, right? I'm like a writer's writer, right?
Right.
I like writing. I don't like the video stuff, but except on Instagram, I'm pretty.
But you're doing really well on this. I'm just gonna say you're passing the video stuff really well. You're looking way better than me. I look like I just gave up today. But anyway, but you started as a fan of Latino Rebels, right?
I wish I could grow a beard like that though, man. I can't.
I know. I gotta give you that, right? And I didn't shave, but anyway. But you started as a fan of Latino Rebels on Facebook, right?
Yeah, I mean, I started I've always been writing. I was just telling somebody this story. Like my first blog was that I was in this group. Shout out to Midnight Crew, which is like a group of guys from Wheeling, Illinois. Shout out to Wheeling, Illinois. And so my freshman year at DePaul, I started this blog of all the shit we'd get into every weekend. It's called Dealing and Wheeling. And it got really popular, right? Like people were back in my hometown. Everybody was reading it because it was all the cheeseman, right? It was all the fucking gossip. I let it all bear, people I was sleeping with, people who was sleeping with who, what the fight was about, who punched who out, who got arrested, yada yada yada. And then then I was also nerdy, and so that led me, blogging let me get my nerdiness out. Started writing essays. Then I found my way to Latino Rebels.
As a fan, you were commenting. Yeah, like you literally were. This is the thing is people that are watching this now who look at Latino Rebels on Facebook and they're like, oh my God, all these people that are commenting. Who the hell are they? They seem so like. I mean, there's a lot of smart. There's a lot of smart of you. Yeah.
Back in 2011, 2012, there was nowhere to get progressive leftist, Latino targeted news on the internet, except for Latino Rebels, right? And so, as a leftist, as somebody who's left of center, let's say, let's put it lightly, right?
Yeah.
Of course, I found Latino Rebels, right? It was one of the first sites that I had. You guys were the only people publishing things about Latin America or things about Puerto Rican colonialism, right?
Right.
And things that I had just learned about and got exposed to in college, right? So I was super radicalized and I was looking for content. And then then I started getting into arguments with you guys, and then that's when you invited me to come on and write. And I'm like,
and then you started writing, and then I was in a career transition, and I was like, what the hell am I gonna do? And you were like,
same thing. I was like, what the hell? what else do I have to do, right? Like, there's nothing else for me to do. You're like, you want to be deputy editor, do the day to day, and I'm like, fuck
Thank
yeah,
you.
I'll
Yeah.
learn, like I'm learning from you, somebody who's doing it, who has experience, and who else is going to give me that? That's the other thing about Latino Rebels. Like, there's nobody else, and I'll say this personally, there's nobody else who's going to let me write the things that I want to write about, the way I want to write, right? I almost dare you to publish my shit, right? Like,
You do.
Everybody knows.
Like,
people know that
you like dangle it. You like freaking dangle it. You're like,
Julio,
you won't publish this shit.
I push the line, right? And I almost dare you. Like, what is he going to publish? And nobody else is going to let me. I've tried to write for In These Times. They butchered my stuff.
Yeah.
I try to write for other places. I've submitted to Jacobin, stuff like that. But they all have a style. They all want all their pieces to sound the same, and that bores me. I like Latino Rebels because like everybody has a voice there. Everybody's voice is distinct, and so it's like a garden. It's not just a bed of red roses. It's like roses and tulips and all different colors.
And
it's
you,
beautiful,
and you,
and me. I don't know what I would be.
So listen, let's talk a little bit about because you've written a lot of pieces, but I want to talk a little bit about because the shift was like dramatic. I mean, you were literally covering Nevada presidential election, like politics for us, because you were out there and you did some fantastic pieces. You wrote about Buttigieg and Kamala Harris.
Which is why I didn't really know about coronavirus. It had been going on by then, but this is mid-February. I was all focused on the caucus.
You were on the caucus. We featured you on your first caucus. You're a Bernie supporter. You're a proud Bernie supporter. And I love that day.
Anymore. Not so much anymore.
We can talk a little bit about that too in a second, but I just, it was February 22nd when I was out there, and I did a couple of MSNBC appearances. Then I went to you with the caucus. Then we had this, I did Ali Velshi late, and then I had this great time with you and your wife, and a friend that you met, and it was like that you met on a reporting trip.
She's gonna listen to this.
Yeah, it was good. And we had a really good time. And it just felt like, oh my God, here it is, politics, like America, like you were gonna write more, Bernie, young Latinos, Joe Biden, like the Latinos aren't.
I'm still thinking because I was gonna do like a Hunter S. Thompson, right? He did all those dispatches in '72, and then he published it as a book at the end, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking that's what I was thinking of doing, right?
And that you were doing
it, and
you were
gonna travel around the country and write all these things, and then, but now I'm thinking like this is gonna be an even better book, because like. Here's this election and Bernie versus the establishment, yada, 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 however you want to frame it. Throw in a fucking global pandemic, the likes of which nobody's seen. That's the beautiful thing, right? I'm 35 and my whole life people said, you're too young, you don't know anything, you don't have any experience, blah, blah, blah. Nobody has experience with this.
Yeah.
Nobody has experience with this.
Yeah, there's no way. No one has an answer to this. So anyway, so that shift... When we were just like, we literally, I mean, it's April 6th, so it was like the last time I saw you was 6-7 weeks ago, if you think about it. Like, if you think about where we were February 22nd to today, like what's going through your head about everything, both from the politics side to even just society. I break it down because you're going to give it to me right now. I know it.
It breaks my heart to see so many people suffering from a government that is either inept or corrupt or both, and I don't know what's worse, but both of them that's a crime. That's a crime, right? I've seen people say like, Trump wanted to say, oh, I'm a war president now. And I saw somebody tweet like, well, if he's a war president, he should be tried for war crimes. Cause I mean, I don't know if you saw what is it? The State Department just ordered 100,000 body bags.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, why didn't we have that many tests beforehand, right? So I'm, it breaks my heart to see that people are suffering, not only health wise, but like, just economically, just stress. Like this, nobody wants to live in this kind of mess, right? But then too, like, again, this is why I'm mad at Bernie. Like, this is his moment, right? This is like.
This is curious. I'm glad you just said that because I do think like that's part of this. We've been getting a lot of flack of the whole thing of like, well, why aren't you covering Bernie? And I'm like, where the fuck is he? Like seriously, like I can't, you can't create something, like either you're gonna do it, Bernie, or you're not. So why are you so mad at Bernie? Because you, of all people, are of all my friends and correspondents and colleagues, and we're friends, but we're also colleagues. And I'm your editor. You're the most like Bernie Sanders, like with a B and an, like
Not Bernie. I'm a leftist, right? I'm to the left. I'm to the left of
But
the
you do love him.
establishment
But you
Democrats.
do like him. You do like him.
Because he's the only offering. He's
Okay,
the only
I got
thing
you.
that's being dangled, right?
All right. So why do you like?
AOC
Yeah.
is an establishment Democrat,
So
right?
why do
He's
you
just
like
to the
him?
left.
Yeah. So why don't you like him now? Why are you mad at him?
This is his moment, right? Okay, like not to go into like socialist philosophy, revolutionary philosophy, but there's every crisis. This is the moment, right? This is the moment. The system is in crisis, right? We see now that the emperor has no clothes, right? That the federal government is either just weak or just in it for rich people. And rich people, by rich people, I mean like how many billionaires are there in the United States? Like 2,000 something. That's the number of people that went to my high school, right? In all 4 grades. So why are 200? Let's say the working class is 200 million people. Why are 200 million people worried about, healthcare and food and where they're going to sleep? Because those decisions are made by 2,000 something people and the people that work for them, which are in government. Let's say another 10,000. Again, this is a small minority. This is a thing, a crisis, right? And I'm not for revolutionary socialism, right? I'm not for and socialists are going to hear this and say like, well, you have to be, right? If you're not for revolution, then you're not a socialist. I want us to move to a system where everybody has healthcare, everybody has housing, everybody, men and women are treated equally. Everybody's treated equally. Everybody's, provided for, and look it up. It's called fully automated luxury communism. It's making the robots our slaves, right? And we just live off the fat off the land, like how we're destined to be as human beings, right? But this is Bernie's moment. He has a fiery movement behind him, right? Fiery, and he could just say, "This is what we're going to demand. We're demanding Medicare for all." Who would oppose him? Right. You see, Trump's going to give it to. Trump's going to pass Medicare for all.
Trump already is like that's the thing that I don't understand about all this, and I'm curious what you think about it, because February 22nd or even March 1, when like everyone was like, oh, even Democrats were like, oh, socialism. And then I'm looking in the last like 2-3 weeks and I'm like, what part? I mean, it's a form of socialism. It might be, you can define it. I mean, it's a different, but it's definitely like government helping people and entities, however level you want to say. There's issues about that, but how did that instantly go like that? How did that go like that? Because people are just seriously scared of their lives, or what do you think?
No, because like, look, I'm not a socialist because it's like poetic or romantic or it feels cool, whatever. If you read history, you read, Marx, you read other people, other philosophers, Socrates, read everybody. It's necessary, right? It's just all a matter of how do you divide up a pizza, right? If we have a pizza and there's 330 motherfuckers, right? 330 million motherfuckers sharing up a pizza, right? And 3 people want half the pizza? Nobody's going to go for that. Nobody's going to go for that. If that's what people are going, that's what we have now, right? So when I say this is how we have to divide up the pizza, that's how it has to be. And you see in a moment of crisis, it lays bare what is needed, right? That the system that we had, while it gave us all our luxuries, Gucci bags and flights to Rome, whatever, it's not providing for us. If it doesn't work in a crisis, if it doesn't work in an emergency, it doesn't work.
So where does this go next then? I mean, seriously, I'm curious. We had this question on In the Thick. I asked the same question of my 2 guests, and that's going to be on tomorrow, and it was like 2 kick-ass journalists. But are we seeing... I'm going to ask you, like, if we get through this will pass. Is anything really going to come out of this moving forward, or is this just like a temporary, like, let's make sure everyone looks good, and we take care of people, but we're going to go back? I mean, you're in Vegas, because I fear the fact that, like, once this thing ends, like, I wouldn't even see you. I'll try to get to Vegas in 2 years, and it'll be like,
it's going to be different.
Yeah.
People, I think you and I more because we're news junkies, right? We follow the news, we follow what's going on, and we've been following it. You can't just throw
Yeah.
yourself into this, in the last because you've been working from home. You think you could be a news junkie in the last 2 weeks? No, we've been following this for years.
Yeah.
Who knows how long you've been following it?
I'm old,
Um,
man.
right, and you have family in politics, so you've always been in politics,
I
right? You've
know.
always had it in your mind, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we know that even whenever we come out of it, that's one thing. Two, it's not going to go back to normal, and
Yeah.
things are changed forever, and we kind of don't know what's changed forever until we try to go walk on this foot. Oh, that leg doesn't work anymore, or it has a limp, and you don't know it yet. It's only April 1st. We're probably going to go through the end of June, so we don't even know what we're going to be
Right.
thinking in a month from now, 2 months. But a question that's tied to that is okay, what's the whole deal with Biden? Is it still blue or vote blue no matter who? What happens with the convention? What happens with the election? We had an election going. I mean, from what I can tell, people, and I could from what your reaction, people who thought Biden was going to win or wanted Biden to win are awfully eerily silent right now.
Yeah, well, it's what I said before. It's like, I said it. It's like, this is what Joe Biden needs to do.
Where's everybody, right? Yeah.
Yeah. What Joe Biden needs to do is actually just do this. Or have someone run his friggin' stream. Pretend that he's got to do something. Because here's the thing. Trump's already, whatever you say about Trump, he's getting that 5 to 7 p.m. slot, and that's showing up on local news, and he's going to say whatever the fuck he wants. And
he passes Medicare for all, and he starts giving people monthly checks. You think you think he's gonna lose to Biden?
No, and that's my whole point. My whole point is that
and Biden's saying we can't pass Medicare for all. He's still saying that.
It's ridiculous. But listen, I could talk to you forever, but I can't. So people remember the show, right? Podcast. Hector Luis Alamo, you write on Latino Rebels. We could keep talking. I'm going to bring you back in the next couple of weeks. I have a feeling like we're all still going to be in quarantine here, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, this is the new normal. This is and it's crazy that podcasting was ready for it,
Yeah, no, it's what I said with Latino Rebels Radio. It's like I've been doing remote for 7 years, and people are like, "How do you do this?" And I'm like,
"Yeah,
I'm good. I'm good."
And now all the people on MSNBC and all the NBC news people are like,
"Come on, just hire me.
What's my Wi-Fi feed? What's my Wi-Fi password?"
I know this. I know how to do it. But listen, Hector Luis Alamo, thank you so much for being on. I will talk to you soon, brother. Take it easy.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Peace, man. Stay safe. Stay healthy.
I will. Listen, guys, before we go, I just want to share a story that we just, it's from the Center for Investigative Journalism in Puerto Rico. We just did the English version of it. And what it did is that it goes into the tracing of flights from the United States, particularly New York, New Jersey, and Florida, 3 states that have a significant Puerto Rican population, and those 3 states happen to be, in the top 10 of coronavirus cases, and it's very fascinating. You need to read this story. It is in Spanish. It came out in Spanish yesterday, and it's up on LatinoRebels.com, but it's also in English, and we actually updated it to reflect new statistics. But one of the things that's important about this is you can see that something, even though Puerto Rico is saying that it's expected to flatten the curve by May 4th, which I still can't believe, they didn't trace a lot of the people that were coming into the airports around up to March 17th. So I know the physical distancing and the curfewing was important to start getting Puerto Ricans to sort of physically distance, but the issue of tests and the issue of whether enough was done at the beginning is still playing out. Now, the government of Puerto Rico is telling you with confidence that they're going to flatten the curve and that there are only going to be 2,000 cases in Puerto Rico by around May 4th. Right now, I think there's about 512, and there's 21 deaths, which is a 4% mortality rate, which is actually, I'm a little bit concerned about that. Also, the one thing that they're saying is that the cases are doubling every 3 days, as opposed to other places like Italy or New York or Florida, where they've been, I think it's 1.5 days. But anyway, go read that story because I think it's one of those pieces of journalism that's kind of going under the radar. And our friends at the Center for Investigative Journalism, Centro Periodismo Investigativo, just crushing it. And I wanted to make sure that you guys saw that. Other than that, I just want to say, like, that ran smooth. That's what happens when you have a guest who shows up with a mic and looks better than you, which is always good. And at the same time, it's great to have Hector because I think he's the type of guy. I've had all these conversations with him in a long time, and I really appreciate him. But it's going to be tough. The next couple of weeks are going to be tough in a lot of areas, not only in New York or Florida or Massachusetts where I'm at, but other states. I'm hearing stories out of Texas now, in other places like Illinois. Detroit is going through some tough times. New Orleans. It looks like we're going to be in for a couple of really, there it is. And my guest just added a comment after said that, hey, thank you, Hector, man. You're really smart. But thank you for being on. But I will say that, the next couple of weeks are going to be tough. Take care of yourself. Don't watch the news all the time. Come over here. Come 10 o'clock at night. We'll have a different type of vibe. And hope you liked it. We're going to have another great guest tomorrow, the fabulous Marlena Fitzpatrick, who needs no introduction. She's going to be on. We also have confirmed Monica Ramirez on Thursday about farm workers. And fingers crossed, I'm going to have a big surprise on Wednesday. I'm hoping it's a musical show, so let's see. But anyway, that was a good start to the week. A very smooth run for Latino Rebels Radio. It was a good start, second week. You go through a couple of rehearsals, but this one, really appreciate Hector being on. Like we always do, we always close out with La Plebe en Venas Abiertas. Julio, Ricardo, Varela, Latino Rebels Radio. We're out of here.